I did something during a strategy meeting that I'm still embarrassed about years later. We were knee-deep into our strategic planning session when one of my employees was presenting, and mid-presentation, I reached for my phone just for a second and just to check one thing. And I looked up and I watched her energy completely deflate. Her shoulders dropped, her voice lost its confidence, and though no one said a word, everyone in the room felt that shift. And that moment taught me more about digital respect than any policy ever could. And it's why I have such strong opinions about Jamie Dimon's recent blanket ban on devices in meetings. I'm Trina Boos, CEO of Boost Academy of Excellence, and I train professionals on workplace skills that actually get them promoted. So today, let's talk about device etiquette in a world that's going from totally remote to hybrid or fully in person once again. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon recently instituted a complete ban on devices during meetings, and his reasoning: checking texts and emails has to stop. It's disrespectful and it wastes time. And we know he's not alone as companies mandate returns to the office like Amazon, Rogers, RBC, Bank of Montreal, and even the Ontario and Alberta government. Many are also cracking down on the technology habits that developed during remote work. You know the ones I'm talking about. Answering emails during Zoom meetings, turning off cameras to take calls, checking phones while pretending to pay attention. But here's my question. Does a one-size-fits-all ban actually serve today's work environment? Or should we be building something a little more sophisticated, an intentional relationship with technology that acknowledges both its power and its problems? Because what I've learned over my decades in the workplace is the issue isn't the device itself, it's what your behavior with it communicates to the people around you. Let me tell you about what happened after that strategy meeting where I checked my phone. After everyone left, I had a brief conversation with my employee and I immediately acknowledged what I had done, that I had picked up my phone at the exact wrong moment, and she was honest with me about how it made her feel, that her presentation didn't matter. And that hit me hard because here's what I'd communicated in that split second of checking my phone. What's on my screen is more important than what you're actually saying. And I did not mean it that way. I was probably just checking something I thought was urgent, though I honestly can't remember what it was now, but my intention didn't matter. It was the impact that did. And this is what leaders like Jamie Dimon are trying to address. Whether someone glances at their phone during your presentation, it creates a rupture and trust erodes, engagement drops, and the person starts to question whether anyone is actually listening. Now, research tells us that people check their phone every 37 minutes. Honestly, I think it's way more than that. But if we're going to stick with those numbers, think about it. In a standard 1-hour meeting, you're actually guaranteed to disrupt focus at least once. And then multiply that by everyone in the room, and then you've got a recipe for meetings where nobody is fully present. But I don't necessarily agree with this blanket ban approach because context matters and professional judgment matters even more. Now, let me share how we handled this at my former company, a recruitment agency, before the pandemic. We ran 3 different types of meetings, and our device policy was intentionally different for each one. Status meetings where laptops were open. 3 times a week, we had a collaborative working session where real-time information was crucial. And during one of these meetings, a senior recruiter actually learned that her client was not moving forward with her candidate. And because she had her laptop open, she immediately messaged that candidate about another urgent opportunity. And had we banned devices, she would have learned about this an hour later. And in our fast-moving recruitment world, that candidate might have accepted another offer. So the laptop wasn't a distraction, it was a crucial business tool. Strategy meetings where devices were put away. For strategic discussions about our business direction, company vision, or major client planning, we had a devices away policy. No laptops, no phones. Why? Because these conversations required full cognitive engagement, and you can't think strategically about your future if half your brain is monitoring your inbox. And beyond the cognitive load, there's this message it sends. This conversation is important enough to deserve my complete attention. And then after that incident where I reached for my phone, I also implemented something new for longer strategy sessions. We built in a 15-minute device check halfway through, and everyone got guilt-free time to address anything urgent, and then we'd come back together to be fully present. The visible exhale from my team when we had those breaks showed me just how needed they were. And then we had team building meetings where we allowed intentional tech use. When we gathered for team building, we actually incorporated technology purposefully. People shared client successes on screen, showed off candidate portfolios, presented industry articles, and we even shared weekend photos and weekend plans and funny memes. And the technology wasn't a barrier, it was an enhancement to our connection. So if blanket bans are not the answer, then what is? I teach my clients a simple equation: purpose plus expectations equals protocol. So before any meeting, I want to ask 3 questions. What is the purpose of this gathering? Is it a working session where real-time information matters? Is it a strategic conversation requiring deep thinking, or a relationship-building moment? What expectations have been communicated? Does everyone understand whether devices are welcome, discouraged, or designated for specific purposes? And what protocol best serves this specific meeting? And what's going to help us achieve the meeting's goals while respecting everyone's attention and time? And this framework helps whether you're remote or hybrid or back to the office full time. But here's the critical piece that no policy can mandate: your own professional judgment about what your behavior is communicating. So here's the thing: regardless of your company's official policy on devices, you need to develop your own code of conduct. Because even if your company allows phones in meetings, when you check yours while someone's presenting, you're telling them something and it's not good. So let me give you some guidelines that have nothing to do with whether or not your boss allows devices, and it has everything to do with being the kind of professional that people want to work with. If you need your device accessible, explain why. I'm keeping my phone on the table because I'm expecting an urgent call from my daughter's school. And that gives context that transforms how people perceive your attention. Ask yourself as well, is this truly urgent? That email that feels pressing right now, it can almost always wait an hour. And the message that you're sending by staying present is worth more than the efficiency of responding immediately. And then notice the impact on others. When you check your device, look up, and did the speaker's energy shift? Did the room's engagement drop? And if someone checks their phone while speaking, don't take it personally, but do make note that person is showing you something about their awareness and professional polish. And then lead by example. If you are in any kind of leadership position, your relationship with technology during meetings sets the tone for your entire team. I always say your actions speak louder than your words, and they are watching what you do, not always listening to the words that you say. The return to in-person work is forcing us to rebuild skills that we have let diminish during years of Zoom meetings, and device etiquette is one of the most important. So you don't need your company to ban phones for you to recognize that how you handle your device communicates respect or the lack of it. So here's my challenge. In your next meeting, put your phone somewhere you can't see it. Not face down on the table, actually put it away and just watch what happens to your own attention, your engagement, and how people respond to your presence. That colleague who's presenting, they'll notice. And that boss who's speaking, they're going to remember. And over time, you will build a reputation as someone who shows up fully. And that's the kind of person who gets promoted. If this episode made you think differently about your device habits, subscribe to the podcast, leave a 5-star rating, and share it with any colleagues who might need to hear this. Drop a comment and tell me your biggest challenge with device etiquette. Do you want to dive deeper into professional presence and workplace etiquette? Visit boostacademyofexcellence.com to explore our courses and workshops. Thank you for listening. Now go and be intentionally present. I'll see you in the next one.